Hi, and welcome to the next part of our coffee talks dealing with cooling of your canine athletes. Please be aware that I will not be talking about emergency cooling of your dog if they suffered an actual heat stroke. We will be talking only about preventive cooling protocol for your canine athlete if you decide to train in the summer or if you are at a competition and there are higher temperatures outside. Of course, it is up to you to create the optimal cooling protocol for your individual dog, and I will be talking only about what I have put together from research, which are the most effective cooling techniques, and what I have discussed with some physiotherapeutists and what is the recommendation regarding cooling of your canine athlete. To give you a short version of the individual steps of an ideal cooling protocol is: after your dog's performance, first voluntary water immersion, then put on the cooling product, go for a cool down walk. After the cool down walk, measure their temperature, make sure it's below 39.5 Celsius degrees, and then your dog is cool down to go and rest. Now we can talk a little bit more detail about it. So let's imagine the situation: you are starting your training or you are at a competition and you want to prepare for your run and you want to do the cool down after the run. So the optimal process would be you go and get your dog from their waiting area. If you think that your dog needs to cool down, what you do is you can cool them down before you go with them for a walk to let them release before you begin with the warm-up. Golden rule: if it's the summer and there are high temperatures, you keep the warm-up really short and quick and the most effective. So what you can do is make sure that you are waiting in the shadow and that you move your dog a little bit before it's your turn on the start line. You shouldn't do any cooling in this waiting period between the warm-up and before you go to the start line. Then you go, you compete or you train, and after you are done, you can begin the cooling protocol of your dog, which means the most effective way to cool down your dog after their performance is voluntary immersion in water, or you can also choose voluntary head dunk. So if there is a small swimming pool or anything filled with water available for your dog to go in and lie down, perfect, use that. For the first cool down after they run, it's the quickest option how to cool them down. You can teach them voluntary water immersion so that they lie down in the water, or you can just let them stand and make sure you apply the water below part of their chest, on their inner area of their thighs, in the groin area. You can even put some of their neck. If the water is not fresh and cold, it doesn't matter. The only thing you need that the water is cooler than your dog. There have been studies that showed that working dogs working at high outside temperatures also cooled down in a 30-degree water because the water was still cooler than the actual dog. After this, you take your dog for a cool down walk. If needed, you can apply additionally cooling products like cooling jackets, and then you go for your cool down walk. When you are done with your cool down walk and you want to put your dog back to the kennel, make sure the panting of your dog is much less than it was before. The reason is, if you put your dog into the crate for waiting and they are still panting a lot, it means their muscles are still producing warmth. So what will happen, you will put your dog into the crate, you think, okay, the cool down is completed, you go away, but your dog will still continue to warm up, and they can still overheat during their waiting, even if they don't move anymore. So make sure when you finish your cool down walk and you want to put your dog back to the waiting area, that their panting is back to normal, which means no tongue hanging sideways. If there is no swimming pool filled with water or anything similar available at the competition or at your training place, you have to use the cooling products. This means right after the run, ideally you have your cooling product ready to use, you put it on your dog and you go straight to your cool down walk. There are a few hacks out there that can help you get prepared for situations where there is no water available and maybe you don't have the option to do the voluntary water immersion or even to dump the cooling product. In this case, I have seen dog handlers working with working dogs that fill their portable fridge, you know, these fridge baskets that you normally fill with drinks or with food. They fill it with water and they put a sponge inside and then they put it in their car and then take it with them to the area where they're actually going to work. They use this to cool down their dog, so they take the sponge and they apply the water from below on their dog. Also, the brand Kerche has a portable washing shower for a dog that you can actually fill with water at home and you put it in your car and then you have it available when you are on the road. Also, a great thing to have in your first aid kit is thermometer to measure the temperature of your dog. This is a great indicator. If your dog has cooled down and you want to put them to their waiting area, you can measure the temperature and make sure it's below 39.5. If you are below 39.5, it's usually safe that your dog is not overheating anymore, that they're not too hot anymore. If the temperature is over 40, your dog is still too hot and you still need to do some cool down. So I hope this information was useful for you for creating the individual cooling protocol for your very own dog. If you have any questions, just write them in the comments and I will do my best to reply.